Do you often draw characters floating in an empty space? Do your backgrounds leave you feeling sad and disappointed? Don't worry, mine do too. That is exactly why this week I decided it was time for me to practice drawing backgrounds. All of the artworks you'll see in this video were made for art fights, so please be sure to check out the wonderful artists that designed these characters through the pinned comment. Because of this, I'll also be talking a bit about each of the characters, since what is art fight without the characters? My first artwork of the video was for Ravioli Fox and Purdy Feathers. They're a pair of sisters, twins I believe. Purdy Feathers designed them a pair of clown characters to represent them for their 10th year of art fight. The designs also look pretty cool, so it would be a waste for me to not draw them. For the background of this piece, I started off simple with a landscape. Some rolling hills are always the easiest background for me to draw. I figured it would be a nice warm-up for the video, before we get into drawing more detailed backgrounds. The environment was looking a little bit bare, so I decided to add in a circus tent. It wasn't too complicated, but it did take up quite some time. The tent turned out pretty good, especially when you take into account that I like blurring the backgrounds. It helps create some separation between the characters and the background, which helps draw the focus back to the two characters. This piece has to be my favorite for art fight so far. I honestly had so much fun drawing them, and luckily it seems like Ravioli Fox and Purdy Feathers like it too. My next artwork was a revenge for Niel Solis. They attacked me with this wonderful piece of my baby Aster. She looks like something out of an old fairy tale, which of course warranted a devastating revenge. So I came up with an artwork of her character, Elena. She lives in a world devastated by the Rapture, an event that granted powers to all of humanity. Gifted with the ability of art manipulation, she leads an organization responsible for capturing criminals and maintaining order. In addition, she works as an informant for the royal family, using her intelligence and vast network of contacts to uncover secrets and threats before they can even reach the kingdom. I did my best to come up with an artwork that could tie into her lore, so I decided to draw her a little upset while possibly discussing something with a mystery person. I only decided what to do for the background after drawing the character, but I think it ended up working nicely. I drew her standing at the back of the library, sort of covered in shadows. She's being sneaky and discussing something there. I just don't know with who, but she's for sure looking for some information. The background choice was spurred on by both her story and me wanting to draw an interior for once. I'm much more used to landscapes, so I wanted to challenge myself. Admittedly, drawing some basic bookcases in a light perspective wasn't too bad, but those books were another story. I had to focus real hard to place different shapes, sizes, and colors down in different orders to make it all look more natural. I don't think the color choice for the books are very realistic, but I wanted to carry some colors from her design over into the environment. I believe this helped the piece be a little more cohesive. Another thing I did to ground her in the environment was add one final shading layer to make her feel like she is properly in the shadows. Overall, I really like this piece. Everything about this character was very fun to draw. The background was very hard, but just simple enough for me to create something satisfying with my limited experience. But for now, let's take a break from the background for my hand and sanity's sake. For the little intermission, I decided to draw another eye banner. This time it was a revenge for Blue Spots, for this adorable art they made of Aster. I really like that they incorporated her necklace being pretty important. The character of theirs that I decided to draw was Solus. He happens to also be sort of galaxy themed like the character from the other eye banner I drew. Solus is a god that created the universe, but also a mortal form for him to come down to the planet to be with the Harpies. Before their death, they left behind shards of power for those that come after and might need it. There is a lot more on their info page, so I really recommend you go read it for yourself. This piece has no background, as the frame is very close to the eyes, but I did get to create a pretty starry effect in the eyes. It's similar to a method I use when actually drawing a starry sky. A droplet brush and an aglow layer does wonders to create this effect. This eye banner turned out very nice and sparkly. It was a well-deserved and executed break from the backgrounds, but for my next artwork I had to return to them. With this artwork, I noticed that all of the previous artworks were focusing on half bodies. I hadn't made a single portrait or full body piece. So for this one I decided to draw a portrait and leave the full body, which will most definitely be the hardest one, for last. This one is of course yet another revenge, and this time it's for Zephyri. They drew my One Piece self-insert Marley. Zephyri has a ton of One Piece OCs, but of course I had to revenge their attack of my half fishman character with a drawing of their fishman character Camilla. This time the background was a little more basic. With the artwork being a portrait, I didn't have as much space to fill the environment up with. Having Camilla chilling underwater was the perfect fit, since she is a fishman, so I went with some kelp or seaweed in the background. It's simple, but it gets the idea across. Though this may just be a portrait, I love how it turned out. The lighting really did some heavy lifting to solidify her in the environment. Now, I was dreading the final piece since I decided it would be a full body. I haven't drawn a full body artwork in about 2 weeks now, so I'm just slightly rusty, but I still had to lock in for this one. This time I'm drawing Radioactive Clown's character June as a revenge for this breathtaking piece they drew of me. It's so dark, I absolutely love it. Jun is an orphan that was taken in by a nomadic tribe. He grew up in another character's, Sasha's, family. Once grown up, he was framed for the murder of Sasha's parents by priestesses who killed them for a ritual. This ritual happened to give Jun some strange powers for him to figure out while he is on the run. For this artwork though, I decided to draw Jun sitting on a cliff that peeks over water with some other land in the distance. It seemed simple enough for me to be achievable, but also still challenged me a little. This time the character is actually interacting with the environment, aka making contact with it, so I had to figure out a way to make him feel grounded while still standing out. This background is a perfect combination of the previous artworks. The field from the first artwork helped me create a texture for the grass in the far background, as well as helped me determine a way to ground the character, just as I did with this circus tent. Having the foreground overlap with him makes it look like he's actually there. The reuse of colors in the character in the background, just as I did with the library scene, helps him blend in a little again. I even got to use the star method that I ended up using in the eye banner. As for the previous portrait I drew, it gave me the idea to not blur the elements in the foreground as much as I do for the far background. Combining all these elements into one piece really created something fun and interesting. During this week, I had a surprising amount of fun experimenting with backgrounds, even though it was quite hard for me to come up with ideas at times. In my artworks, characters tend to be very disconnected from their environment or not in one at all. This was a very necessary step for me in my art journey, and I hope to continue drawing many more backgrounds in the future. Even though I don't tend to draw backgrounds often, I do have a set of rules for how I go about it. My backgrounds rarely contain line art, so they look more painterly than certain props and characters. I've been drawing like this for a long time, mainly due to my style being anime inspired, but also so that there is a certain degree of separation between the character and the environment. To boost that effect, I've started adding a white border to characters. I am unsure if I'll keep it. It might create a bit too much separation, but for now I quite like it. For most of my pieces, I don't want the characters to get completely lost in the environment. I want them to be the focus of the piece, since in the end I am just a character artist after all. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. Be sure to like and subscribe so that I don't miss the next one. Bye bye!